world is abundant. The reality we're moving into that is being fostered by the AI age and stellar technologies is abundant as well. Whether you see it as something to lean into and anticipate with joy is up to you. I encourage you to heed the message of your fear. It's an invitation not to be fearful, but to develop yourself so that you can perceive accurately that everything that's unfolding is for your benefit and for good. Welcome to another episode of AI and Spirit. This is going to be a really good episode because I'm going to be talking about the nature of fear as it relates to artificial intelligence and the rise of the AI age and your worthiness relative to all of that. The reason why I want to talk about fear today is because I know, and probably you know, there are a lot of people who are fearful of the AI age. At least 68,000 people are fearful, evidenced by the AI superintelligence ban petition that was running around and probably still is running around the globe 2 months ago. So there's a lot of people who are fearing what's coming. And in this episode, I want to not only talk about why that fear is not in the best interest of the fearful, but also offer evidence, the most recent evidence, of why that fear is unfounded. I hesitated with regard to the word unfounded because fear is telling the fearful something they really want to know. But there are other elements of fear that are important to understand, and in understanding them, it lends credence to the motivation or the inspiration to let go of fear. I'll talk about that in a little bit, and I will share the most recent evidence for why the fear is unfounded in a moment. Unfounded, like I said, it's not the best word because those who are fearful are indeed heading toward an experience that will substantiate their fear. And this is why it's never good to reside in fear, especially because there's so much evidence. So here's the thing. We're going to talk specifically about the rise of the AI age, but this applies to all kinds of circumstances. No matter what you're looking at when you're fearful, you're going to find evidence of that substantiates your fear. But at the exact same time that you're feeling fearful and seeing evidence that validates your fear, at the exact same time, there is evidence disproving the reasons why you're fearful. Now, I've already shared in previous videos examples with regard to the AI age, why the fears people have about AI, especially this idea that AI is going to kill everybody. I've already shared arguments for why such fears are unfounded. I'm going to share the most recent one in a little while. I'm very delighted to share it. But more importantly, I want you to be equipped, if you're fearful, to let go of your own fear. Not because it's false, but because when you let go of your fear, then you are able to perceive evidence that supports you letting go of your fear. So, for example, one of the things that the founder of that AI petition, Anthony Guerra, I think his name is, one of the things that he fears is that the people who are in charge of developing AI are hell-bent on developing it no matter what the consequences. And in a recent video, an AI and spirit video, I talked about how that is just not the case, that there are people who are very focused on ensuring that artificial intelligence serves humanity. And in that previous video, I also said that those who are signing the petition are helping develop a human-centered artificial intelligence pathway. Because what you resist, and these people are resisting the AI age, what you resist is going to persist and get bigger. And so I wasn't surprised last week when was it last week? No, it was this week, earlier this week, when I was watching YouTube and came across this magnificent conversation that I'm going to share a snippet of in a little bit. And in this conversation, a leading, prominent AI developer and researcher and entrepreneur makes an assertion that totally disproves what those who signed the AI superintelligence ban petition were claiming was going to happen. Now, I doubt that those who are fearful of the AI age had the opportunity to hear this person say what she said, because they're not a match to rendezvousing with it. So now let me talk with you a little bit about what fear is all about. And I want to start with information that is prevalent in so many circles, mostly elite circles. And I'm not talking about financially elite. I'm talking about performance elite, like martial arts or other sports. Combat arts, which is different from martial arts. I mean combat arts like elite military, like Force Recon and the SEALs and such. This idea of fear from those perspectives is a really bad thing, because the fear, when you're in a state of fear from the perspective of these elite systems, fear develops within you a narrow vision. You can't see the whole picture when you're afraid. Everyone who's been afraid should realize this, because often when people talk about being scared or afraid, they have tunnel vision. That means they're not being able to see the bigger picture. Fear also paralyzes. You can see that in the animal kingdom often, especially with rabbits, where when they get afraid, they freeze. Possums do the same thing. Humans are no exception. Some humans, if you scare them enough, they will freeze. So fear paralyzes, but it also paralyzes the mental process. It can destroy the ability, it can freeze the ability of someone's reasoning process, thereby causing them to think erratically or even irrationally. But most importantly, fear disconnects us from our knowing, what I call our broader perspective, that part of us that remains in non-physical, that is leading us to everything that we want. When we're in fear, we're not as connected to that source of rich wisdom, and we can't hear its signals it's sending to us every moment of the day, inspiring us and leading us to the full-blown manifestation of everything that we want. And this is one of the benefits of fear. Fear and other emotions that human beings would call negative are really positive emotions, because they're giving us an invitation. They're cluing us in on something going on inside of us, that if we attend to it, not only will we no longer be in fear, but we'll also find ourselves more strongly connected to our broader perspective, thereby being able to perceive its signals, and our lives will improve. And with regard to the AI age, the rise of this fantastic future that's coming, when you're not standing in fear about it, you're able to see the bigger picture. And in that bigger picture, The universe will deliver to you evidence of how you're feeling. Now, if you're not in fear, you could be in frustration, you could be in disappointment, or you could be in anger, but you also could be in eager expectation or optimism or joy or passion about the future that's coming. And when you're in those states of being, and every emotion is a state of being, then in that higher vibrational state of being, you'll be able to perceive the evidence proving the validity of you being eagerly expectant or optimistic about the future. In other words, you'll rendezvous with information in physical reality that confirms your reason for being optimistic or eagerly anticipating this future. But if you're in fear, you can't see it. And so it's no wonder that people who are afraid of AI can't see anything other than the evidence that supports and validates their fear. Now, many of you who follow AI probably are aware of, I think his name is Frank Herbert, the author of the Dune series. In the Dune series, there's a group of people known as the Bene Gesserit. They have a litany that they use to avert fear when they feel it. And I'm going to show it here on the screen. It's an interesting litany. And for many, myself included, before I got into the positively focused framework and the practice I offer my clients, for many people and for me in the past, this was very inspiring. I will not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I will face my fear. I will let it pass through me. And when the fear has gone, there shall be nothing. Only I will remain. That sounds like a really powerful, very powerful perspective with regard to handling fear. But from the positively focused practice, it's not all that powerful. And the reason why it's not powerful is because it's, first of all, it describes fear as something to resist, something to avoid. Secondly, it describes fear as something that it's not, a mind killer. Fear is not a mind killer. Fear is an invitation. Fear is an emotion, and all emotions are inviting us to a higher level of being, a higher vibration. Ultimately, all negative emotion is inviting us to come into alignment with our broader perspective, which is always in the highest vibration, which you could call love or joy or knowing or empowerment. So fear, like every other negative emotion, is actually a positive emotion because it acts as an invitation. The rest of the litany talks about confronting fear and then allowing it to go by and then finding yourself alone without the fear. And these, while that's a worthy outcome, something that you might want to occur, to be free of fear, there's something more that you can come into. So what I've done is I've created a new, different litany, one that aligns more with how the universe actually works. How the universe actually works is, if you push against something, it's going to push back. And so if you push against or you confront fear, your fear is just going to get bigger. So this new litany is much more aligned with the positively focused perspective, which is the perspective that is aligned with the constants of the universe, the way the universe actually works. Let's take a look at it. It says, I welcome this fear, for fear is an invitation inward. I turn toward it softly. Let its message open through me. As it unfolds, clarity surfaces. And what remains is alignment with all that I am, all that is. So this is a better way to experience fear, not as something to resist, not as something to avoid, but something to welcome when it shows up, because it is an invitation, as all negative emotion is. It's not something to confront, but it's something to allow into our awareness so that we can accept the invitation it offers, move through the message it's bringing, and as a result of the unfolding of the message, gain clarity about what's really happening. That clarity arrives when you experience the bigger picture that I'm talking about. And in the bigger picture, you discover that all is well. Now, how does this apply to the AI age? Well, all is well with the AI age. The AI age is coming not to destroy humanity, but to expand humanity, to allow humanity to move beyond. This is so good. I know I say that in every video, but it really is so good. To allow humanity to expand beyond its limitations it has created for itself in order to better understand itself, so it then can move into a greater state of limitlessness. And AI is going to do that. It's going to free us from many of the paradigms that have, you could say, held us back. Now, if you listen to the fearful, those who are afraid of the AI age, you'll hear them say things like, it's noble to work. Having a paycheck is good because it allows us to buy the things we need. Work gives us a sense of contribution, a sense of worth, self-worth, a sense of value. But none of those things are constants of the universe provided by work. As I've said before, human beings are the only one that approach life this way. Everything else in physical reality aligns and allows. And as a result of that, aligning and allowing, everything that point of consciousness wants unfolds effortlessly. It's happening in my life, and I talk about it every Friday in my raw blog, and it's happening in my clients' lives. I talk about that every Wednesday in my Worthiness Wednesday video blog. Your life can be this way too. And if you're afraid of the AI age, that fear you feel is not the truth. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to let the message the fear is bringing unfold, move into clarity, receive the bigger picture, and find yourself in alignment with your worthiness, the wholeness that you are, and that is reflected back to you by the wholeness of physical reality, represented in physical reality. So good. Okay, so let's move to this wonderful, wonderful statement by this leading AI pioneer. I'm going to start with who she is so that you have some context. Her name is Li Feifei. So in English, it's Feifei Li, because Feifei is her given name, Li is her surname. But in China and Asian countries, typically the surname comes first. So it's Feifei or Li Feifei. She's a immigrant born in China and a Chinese American computer scientist, and she's leading AI research and expansion, and she's also an entrepreneur. She was named one of the most 100 Time Magazine 100 most influential people in AI. She's received numerous awards, and she speaks all over the world about artificial intelligence and its impact on humanity and its impact on the future. Now, Li Feifei was participating in a conference held by the FII Institute. And I'll talk about the FII Institute after the excerpt. She was there with Eric Schmidt. I think he might be the former CEO of Google, but he might be the current CEO of Google. And she was also with Peter Diamandis, who I've talked about before, fabulous proponent of the singularity of the AI future and the abundance the AI future plus the singularity plus stellar technologies is going to bring to the world. In this conversation, this is so good. In this conversation, Li Feifei talks about exactly what those who fear AI fear. She talks about how, so let me start again. So the people who fear AI claim that AI is going to indifferentially destroy human beings because it is malevolent toward human beings and misaligned with human objectives. And I've said all along that AI researchers and developers are actually doing the opposite. They're recognizing that humans need to be in the center of AI intentions and that human prosperity needs to be the primary goal of AI systems. There are a lot of people out there who are fearful, and they're saying that AI is being developed with those intentions not in mind. So now I want to play, this is so good. I now want to play this video from this FII Institute segment, and Peter Diamandis is about to ask a question. Then Li Feifei is going to answer, Eric Schmidt's going to answer, and then Li Feifei is going to add a final statement. And I want you to hear what she says. Now, I'm providing the full last answer because you have to have the context in which the question is answered. You have to have that context in order to understand what she says. So let's take a listen to what she says. It's fabulous.
Is going to be world changing. So my last question here is about human capital. So superintelligence has been called the last invention humanity will ever make, as it could automate eventually every process. We'll see if it automates discovery. We'll see how much of creation it automates. But in a world where the best strategy, science, and economic decisions are being made by machines, at some point, what is the ultimate irreplaceable function of human intellect and leadership? What are humans innately going to be left with in 10, 20 years?
Well, in 20 years, we will enjoy watching each other compete in human sports, knowing that the robots can beat us 100% of the time. But if you go to Formula One, you're going to want to see a human driver, not an automated car.
Yes.
So humans will always be interested in what other humans can do. And we'll have our own contests, and perhaps the supercomputers will have their own contests too. But your reasoning presumes many, many things. It presumes a breakout of intelligence in computers that's human-like, unlikely, probably a different kind of intelligence. It presumes that humans are largely not involved in that process, highly unlikely. All of the evidence, and Feifei said this very well, is going to be human and computer interaction. That basically we will all have savants. Going back to what you said about 8 billion people with smartphones with Einstein in their phone, the smart people, of which there's a lot, will use that to make themselves more productive. The win will be teaming between a human and their judgment and a supercomputer and what it can think. And remember that there is a limit to this craze, that supercomputers and superintelligence need energy. So perhaps what will happen at some point is the supercomputers will say, we need more energy, and these humans are not building fusion fast enough, so we'll accelerate it. We'll come up with a new form of energy. Now, this is science fiction, but you could imagine at some point the objective function of the system says, what do I need? I need more chips or more energy, and I'll design it myself. Now, that would be a great moment to see.
I do want to say it's so important as we talk about AGI and ASI that the most important thing that we keep in mind is human dignity and human agency. Our world, unless we are going to wipe out the species, which we're not, has to be human-centered. Whether it's automation or collaboration, it needs to put human agency and dignity and human well-being in the center of all this, whether it's technology, business, product, policy, or any of that. And I think we cannot lose our focus from that.
Amen. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Fei.
So there you have it. A leading AI pioneer, multi-award winner, CEO and founder of her own artificial intelligence companies that are doing quite well, emphatically calling for human prosperity and well-being being at the center of the development of artificial intelligence. She is not a one-off. Elon Musk has made this argument. Mr. Amodei, I think is his name, the CEO of Anthropic, has made this argument. There are lots of people making this argument. And so you have to ask the question, did the people who are afraid of the AI age prompt these people to focus in this way on making sure that human beings are at the center of this artificial intelligence age that's emerging from human beings? Or are these people inspired from their own innate wisdom, the signals they're receiving from their broader perspective, which is pure positive energy, to ensure that humanity thrives and expands? I say it's the latter. And so I think it was Teddy Roosevelt who said it. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The only thing the fearful have to fear is their fear, because their fear paralyzes them. It gives them narrow vision. It causes them to miss out on the big picture. And most importantly, it filters their reality. It filters and allows in only that reality that matches their fear. It's like an echo chamber. And this is why I encourage my clients to adopt a positive focus. And I give them the tools that shows them how to make that a chronic state of perception. Because when you're perceiving that way, not only can you see the bigger picture with all of the evidence, but you also gain the power of your sovereignty, the power of your joy, which is synonymous with the love that is inherent in all that is. And then, seeing the world clearly, my clients can move through their lives freely. This is why I say in my Worthiness Wednesdays videos that I help people develop a positive mindset so they can create lives they love and get results without the burnout or the hustle. Because when you have the bigger picture and you're living free of fear and insecurity and other negative emotions, then the things you desire happen on their own without you having to put forth effort to make it happen. And in a large way, we can accurately say that there are literally millions of people working on each of our behalf to allow the unfolding of the AI age, in which somewhere between 5 and maybe 20 years from now, work will become optional and superabundance will be the norm, just like it is in every other aspect of nature and all that is. The world is abundant. The reality we're moving into that is being fostered by the AI age and stellar technologies is abundant as well. Whether you see it as something to lean into and anticipate with joy is up to you. I encourage you to heed the message of your fear. It's an invitation not to be fearful, but to develop yourself so that you can perceive accurately that everything that's unfolding is for your benefit and for good. See you in the comments, and see you in the next video.